Ready for roll call, please?
Mayor Feldman,
Here.
Councilmember Robinson,
Here. Here.
here,
All right, moving on to tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Make that motion.
Councilor Duval makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Ritter makes a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to tonight's consent agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's, approve rather, tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Councilman Robinson makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Duval makes a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right, meeting open to the public.
We do have someone here, not his last name, for a track and field donation.
Please state your name and address, please, for the record.
I'm Ellie Evenson, 20259 Wolfram Street, Northwest 55303. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Allie Anderson. My teammates and I are here representing the St. Francis Track and Field team. We are here tonight to ask for a donation to our program from the charitable Union. We are currently working to raise funds for new uniforms for our track and cross country teams. Our current uniforms are 5 years old and in need of replacements due to very many reasons. Some of our uniforms are worn out from being competed in. Some have been lost over the years, and with a lot of new athletes every season, we do not have enough sizes to fit all athletes. Unfortunately, the uniform company no longer creates uniforms in the style we have. Thus, we are not able to replace only a few units. With over 120 athletes in our programs, the cost for new uniforms is more than $4,000. We are here tonight asking for a $2,000 donation to help with our programs. Thank you for your time and consideration. A donation to our program would be greatly appreciated.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, it's kind of awkward here to go over that situation here. So I would like to, I'll bring this, I will put it like this. When do you need this donation by? And when is the end of the season? Beginning of June? Okay. We'll take it to a work session and discuss it at that point. I'll let you know at that point. We can't make a decision here tonight about that. But we'll discuss it at a work session
Thank you.
as we set the date coming up, okay?
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, we need some contact information to get back to someone, pick your point person.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else, Jenny? All right, then we're moving on to special business, which is swearing in of new officers.
Mayor and City Council, tonight we'll be swearing in 2 new St. Francis police officers. Traditionally, we've held our swearing in ceremonies at the police department, but we thought it might be time to bring our new officers before the City Council as a way of introducing them to our elected officials, and also to allow all of you to put a face to the names that you might be hearing about or seeing in the future, of course, in all good ways. These officers will soon be taking the department oath of service, but before we get to that, I just want to start by expressing my gratitude to all the officers and staff of the St. Francis Police Department for what they do every single day. Today's law enforcement officers and the profession itself is being tested and scrutinized in ways that it never has been. It's a profession that's becoming more unpredictable, more complicated and confusing. And now more than ever, we need dedicated people who are willing to step up and serve and protect communities. And it takes a certain type of person to do that, and all of our officers and staff that make up the St. Francis Police Department are truly very special individuals who should be commended every single day, every single shift for what they do. And we all know what type of world this would be without our law enforcement. So I do want to publicly thank and acknowledge all of them for what they do day in and day out, and I know their community thanks them as well. And I always say this at swearing in, but it really never gets old. I do like to say, and I mean that it's an honor, to work with all of our dedicated officers and staff at the police department. So I can just publicly thank them, thank those that are here tonight, and thank all of them. And at this point, I will introduce our new officers and have them come on up with the individuals we've chosen to accompany them. So there's, come on up. So I will start with the officer of my pitch, James Bolte. James has been calling the St. Francis Community home for some time now. James actually grew up and attended school in this community and will now have the opportunity to serve and contribute to his hometown, which I think is pretty special. James is coming to us from the Wright County Sheriff's Office, where he served for approximately 2.5 years. So with him, he'll bring his law enforcement experience to the St. Francis Police Department, which will undoubtedly help him serve his hometown community. So we're excited to have James here and know he'll make a great addition to the St. Francis community. To my left, they both kind of tower over here. So my left is Riley Struckman. He comes to us from the Southern Metro. And after traveling through this area from time to time, I think we're at a snowmobile or ice fishing or whatever, he decided to venture north and has been calling the St. Francis Community home for about a little over a year now, about a year and a half. Riley has a public works background and is excited to begin his law enforcement career with the St. Francis Police Department. He brings with him a strong work ethic, with experience, and which we're confident will both help him make a great addition to the St. Francis team. And Riley and James, just know that at the end of the day, you have a very, very supportive community here in St. Francis. And remember that the entire police department and everybody in this room supports you guys. They want to see you succeed. They have your back. So just work hard and get everything you have to gain their confidence in you. And I also encourage you to have trust and have confidence in all of them. And you guys will get support. Now I will ask Mayor Feldman to come on up and do the honor of swearing the officer.
Well, they're gonna really work me, so.
Yeah. Just stand back.
James, I'll have you raise your right hand. Repeat the oath after me. I, James Bolte, do hereby solemnly swear on oath that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Minnesota. I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will faithfully discharge my duties as a police officer for the city of St. Francis, Minnesota, to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Hand over the time.
Yep.
All right, I raise your right hand. Repeat the following after me. I, Riley Struckman,
I, Riley Struckman,
do hereby solemnly swear
do here solemnly swear,
on oath
and I will
support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Minnesota.
and the state of Minnesota.
I will never betray my badge,
I'll never betray my badge,
my integrity,
integrity,
my character, or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will faithfully discharge my duties
To faithfully discharge my duties
as police officer
as police officer
for the city of St. Francis, Minnesota,
for the city of St. Francis, Minnesota,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
Help me God.
Congratulations. I, and council and staff, welcome you to the city of St. Francis. You're welcome.
Thank you. These are very brief ceremonies. Mayor Council for having the pleasure of do this very nice and welcome again, James and Riley.
Well, that's a duty I'd like to perform here. All right, moving on to old business. Ordinance update, chapter 8, section public protection, second reading. Ordinance 308, an ordinance amending chapter 3 municipal and public private utilities, rules and regulations, rates, charges, and collections. We wait till everybody leaves.
So, Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the second reading for the dangerous weapons. This is a housekeeping item to get this item up to state statute, as we are severely outdated. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We have no questions. It's the second reading. We pretty much went through on the first reading. Kevin, your response?
No, no questions, sir. Nothing to add.
Sarah?
No further comment.
All right. Being that this is important, so I have a motion to adopt an ordinance update, chapter 8, section public protection, second reading. Ordinance 308, an ordinance amending chapter 3 municipal and public private utilities, rules and regulations, rates, charges, and collections. By motion to adopt ordinance 308.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Rivera makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Councilor Wells makes a second. This is an ordinance, so we'll do a roll call. Jenny, please.
Mayor Feldman.
Aye.
So actually, the ordinance that's on there is incorrect. It's supposed to be ordinance 309.
Bill, aye. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then, should I reread this then?
We've just made the amendation, you can proceed to vote, it's just a technical correction,
Okay,
it's 309, and then we can proceed to the vote.
okay.
Mayor Feldman.
Aye.
Councilmembers Neubauer.
Aye.
Dig. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.
Moving on to new business, work session request.
Mayor and Council requesting another work session. This one is to discuss some development related topics. Requesting April 10th, we're kind of squeezing it in behind or between several others and existing council dates. See if you're available on April 10th.
What time are you looking at? 5:30?
6 o'clock. Councilmember Bauer struggles to get to meetings before 6, so.
Okay, 6 o'clock. Can we add on, it didn't. The track and field thing I thought was really odd. I wish they would have come to you first. I brought that to our the attention of staff and then to us. Council meeting is not the place to do that. So, but I want to put that on the docket. It's till June, so we have time. We will have other work sessions. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it down the road?
Mayor and Council, so we have a work session scheduled for March 27th to already discuss financial issues. We can put it on that one.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, but then this work session for April 10th is related to community development items.
All right, and I don't know if you can reach out to the city, the school, but if they're gonna do that, they should come to you first. And then
I don't even know if we can do anything.
I don't even
It's not on the
know.
agenda.
I don't even know.
Would we be able to do that? Let's say we said, okay, today, but that even be a thing we could do. As far as I know, it has to be on the agenda.
It's not even, but it's not even placed.
We'll work with the individual that brought this forward with the request, but I'll put that on the March 27th work session. So we can have a discussion about the donations in general, including this one, in regards to our financial future. But then
Well,
I
it puts
still
us in
need,
an awkward position, so that's the way to do it. So we can address that on the 27th.
Sure.
that's fine,
okay,
Okay. And you're talking April 10th, you're talking about the work session
correct,
at City Hall, I take it.
correct.
Okay, 6 o'clock, is everybody agreeable with that one? Everyone, that's on my calendar. Okay, you have it, then, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay. On Easter Monday too, you're doing that on Easter Monday. Okay. fine with me.
Business has to get done.
I was surprised we don't have that day out.
Okay. 4:10. Okay. All right, moving on to item 9B, Police Department UAV program.
Mayor, City Council, tonight I just want to take the opportunity to advise the City Council on a piece of equipment. Really an entire program, police department staff has been researching and is planning on hopefully implementing here in the near future. The police department is researching the purchase and implementation of an unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV, otherwise known as a drone. A UAV is a small unmanned aircraft operated remotely without direct human intervention from within or on the aircraft. There are a number of ways the police department could utilize this type of equipment. First and foremost, it would allow the police department to expand its public safety capabilities, including in areas of search and rescue, emergency management, enforcement of criminal activity, locating missing persons or suicidal persons, just to name a few. I wish this was as easy as purchasing a piece of equipment and having our officers start flying it tomorrow, but of course it's not. It's actually quite the process. Which basically just starts tonight, by getting direction from City Council to approve us and moving forward with the implementation of this program. In addition, before we can fully get a UAV program up and running, state statute requires the law enforcement agency accept public comment and input in developing and adopting a UAV policy, and also public comment prior to purchasing or using a UAV. There would also have to be an opportunity for public comment at a regularly scheduled meeting, so it can be very similar to our body on camera process. The first public comment period would be electronically through either email or mail. Information on how to comment will be posted on our website, along with our draft policy. Following that first public comment period, additional information will then be brought back to City Council, including a purchase recommendation, as well as our approved as well as to approve our UAV policy. This meeting would also serve as the second public comment period. Next steps would include training current designated St. Francis officers and pilots. This is a process in itself, which includes passing an FAA knowledge test to obtain their pilot certificate. They would then be trained on the operation of the equipment, policy and statutes, and would review their license certification every 2 years. So tonight, again, is just basically an overview of our plans and intentions, where I'm seeking City Council direction and support to move forward with this process. If you do support this, as mentioned, I will be bringing more information in the near future to a council meeting, including hopefully the piece of equipment we plan to purchase and utilize, as well as the associated costs of it. So I can answer any questions.
All right, thanks, Todd. Yeah, I'm very much pro for it. I think it's a good aid, a good tool, good use of the forfeiture fund. I'm for moving forward with it myself. Sarah, your comments?
Yeah, I agree. I think the tools that we can have, it makes your job easier. It makes our residents have more opportunities for, if something happens, we have that readily available and we don't have to wait for somebody else to come help us. So I'm in support of it as well.
Yeah, definitely an eye in the sky does help. Joe, your comment?
I think it'd be a cool tool to have, something to be cool to use. I don't know if we need it necessarily. Moving forward, getting prices and all that, I don't think there's an issue moving forward with getting more information. My fear, well, a couple of fears I have about things like this too, is just, I think with the leadership we have now, I would have no concerns. But like I wouldn't like to see it be overused in such a case, say you're looking for too many cars in a yard that you can't tell otherwise type thing, things like that. That's just the only concern that I would have. As well as I would think, I mean, if we did have a situation, say somebody's suicidal on the bridge, so to speak, granted, you probably would see them just fine here, but in that case, like the sheriff's department, would they have something like this already that could assist as well?
They do. Couple of agencies in Elgin County do have these. We've actually had them off a number of times assisting us with that tool. So the more and more as time goes by, the more and more we find ourselves requesting that for various situations. And it has helped us locate things before. And as far as the other entities outside of law enforcement using this tool for ordinance, things like that, there's very strict rules that we have to comply with, state statute, FAA regulations, things like that. Pretty strict criteria on how we can use this tool without obtaining a search warrant, which is pretty limits us actually.
Right.
So there would have to be definitely written consent, maybe a search warrant to use anything, this thing or anything outside of, some of the exigent circumstances for law enforcement. So.
Yeah, getting more information, I don't know about that.
Anything else, Joe?
No.
Kevin?
I'm on a similar line of thought as Joe, but, how many officers, you probably thought some of this out through, or how many officers have to be trained with apparatus?
Right now, we're looking at training 4.
And would they all need licensing or renewed licensing?
Basically, when they get licensed, it's called 107 Aviation Administration. This allows them to fly over people and fly at night, fly over vehicles. So if we have a situation, where we've had like a suicidal person in the park at night, they would need to be licensed through the FAA to fly that UAV at night to kind of locate this person. So yeah, we're looking at training for, they would have to renew that license every 2 years to maintain that certification.
Where would that, item like this be stationed? Would it be at the, would somebody have to, an incident occurs, somebody gotta go back to the station, get the unit, bring it out? Or they could fly it from the station, they would have to come back again?
It'd likely be stored at the station, they would have to come back and get it. The main reason being, for one, we don't want to leave them in both cars and things like that. But flying from the police department likely wouldn't be an option. We have to have trained observers whenever we fly this thing up, so most likely, most of our staff will be trained observers. You have to have a line of sight on it the entire time, it can't disappear on you, and you can only fly it so high and so fast and things like that, so. They would, 99% of the time, an officer would have to come back, get it from where we choose to store it, because we're not big as
That time consideration between travel and getting the unit, and not every officer can have it, of course. You take that into account as far as its capabilities and time savings and whatnot, when you still have to go back to a main station and bring it back out.
Sure, and from most of our incidents that we've had to use this tool from other agencies, we're looking at a 45-minute hour wait now anyway, when we're on this tool up here. Most situations that have taken place where we use this tool have been probably within 5 minutes. of the police department. So it's a pretty quick response to come back and get it. Pick that up.
I would see that as a plus, that's a good answer there. And then he asked the sheriff question already. What is, just in the get-go, the renewal cost and then the initial cost, what do you approximation?
The initial cost that we're, there's a wide variety of units out there. Very few of them have the camera capabilities, are built the way we would want to see them built. So the one we're looking at purchasing is right around $18,000. You can look on Amazon and get it for a couple $100, but sure, we're going to spend more time replacing parts, replacing them than using the tool. So, yeah, that's about the price for it. I mean, there are agencies even in the county that are spending $3,000 for their UAVs. We're definitely not going to be going there anytime soon, but we're looking at more of a middle ground UAV with a good thermal imaging camera. Can use it at night for about $18,000. That's about the start on replacement. Things like that will be included in our CIP. And something like this, we would probably look at replacing every 8 to 10 years. Where we'll slowly build that CIP up to replace that.
And that's with keeping up with technology, when you say replacement every 8 to 10?
If we can do better than that, we'll sure try. Yeah, you're right, technology is changing daily, but that for now, that is just, at least on paper, kind of our goal as far as replacement.
Does this give you recording capabilities as well on the ground from the operator, and
It does.
any laser infrared heat, or you can get a GPS coordinate from the drone, and then an officer could be able to zero in on?
The GPS coordinates,
It's got the laser finder, yeah.
so it would give us some.
And then your online training for every 2 years for the recertification, that's free for the license.
Okay. All right, and what's the current cost of a dog? And I know dogs are proprietary to, what a certain handler for, but what's the average cost of a police dog now for training?
After training, purchase of the dog, setup of a vehicle, all the associated costs, the limited research I've done, I've seen that you can spend upwards of $100,000 to get a camera program up and running. I think a lot of factors are gonna come into play with that as far as price. But, you know, it's gonna come down to what kind of vehicle you want to purchase, all that, that could, of course, a huge cost. Yeah, you know, it's something we've looked into, and we're starting to look into. It's on the radar, but a lot of work has to be done. Sure. To get some more exact figures for
And then lastly, in the next 3 to 5 years, do you see any protection devices that the unit could use that's coming up, whether it be, we talked about fencing and whatnot in a bigger scheme of things, but what about shields or riot shields or other protection devices for the actual officers in the field that they use? Are you forecasting any needs that you'll be coming to us to talk about those
it.
items?
Well, right now, each officer is supplied with mobile field force. So every officer has protective chest gear, helmets, batons, things like that, that can protect them if they're standing on a line somewhere. Every officer is going through at least annual mobile field force training. We do have a limited amount of shield. We are looking at purchasing more mobile field force shields, not ballistic shields, which are extremely expensive, but we are looking to at least get that line protection for our line officers should we have to, you know, do that one of these days. But again, most of our officers have been issued most of that equipment already, so we're kind of having to on that just because I want to say even we purchased a lot of that pre-2020 before all of the chaos happened. But we have a little ways to go on that. We could improve some ballistic vests and things like that, but again, very expensive. Slowly get there, but at least they have the basic protection that they would be spend some time on a line where it's defending our building and our line.
Okay, I was just trying to get a feel for immediate as opposed to future. Some of your vests and whatnot, equipment is getting it, they started to become outdated, but. No, I'm more investigating it further. I 2 mile deep, 12 mile wide city, 12 officers. I don't know if the need is there, but I'm willing to listen more, but I appreciate the answer you gave.
All right, well,
One more quick question, Mr. Mayor. So are these something that the public say, if I had 18 grand to throw on the ground that I could go get myself, or is that something that it's special for you guys?
To my knowledge, this is not specific to law enforcement, but again, to be able to apply under some specific circumstances. At least for law enforcement, for us to fly at night over people, things like that, we do have to have special license and special training.
right, you have to have FAA guidelines too. You can't fly this thing with. I know that when you were community development director, you had them taking pictures of the city. There was FAA guidelines where that drone can go and when it can go, and the heights and limits. So this just pertains to the drone we're talking about now, not everything else, just the drone. So my question to you is, how much money is in the forfeiture fund?
Right now, I believe there's approximately 14,000 left in our forfeiture fund.
So you're pretty much your initial purchase of this product is covered by the forfeiture fund. Later expenditures will be to capital improvement, right? Let's keep it simple, but that's what it's about, the drone. The date. Okay. Any other comments? Do I need a motion on this one then?
Just one direction.
Just direction.
Direction, we got direction. I don't want to see a plan over any barbecues or anything like that either, but.
That's what we didn't tell us. That's
Or yeah, tell us what the barbecue is, that's it. All right, anyway, moving on to item 9C, fee schedule amendment for farmers market first reading. Ordinance 311, is that correct? 311, and ordinance amending section 2-9-1 of the city code regarding the fee schedule of farmers market fees.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a proposal to amend our fee schedule to add a fee for the coming farmers market for the summer. Originally, when staff was exploring the farmers market for the summer, in our initial research for how much vendor fees cost, we found that they were really all over the map, anywhere between $80 and $250 for registration for a vendor for the season. So we thought that the $150 transient merchant and peddler license fee would be an appropriate amount and an easy one to just slip in there. But when talking with prospective vendors, they've expressed that this fee is higher than the immediate surrounding markets, and us being a new market, they are concerned about spending that amount. And we also have had some people who have been community members who want to come forward as a vendor as well, but don't currently have general liability insurance, which is required to be a vendor in the market. And so they would have to purchase that too, so reducing the fee for first seems to be something that's worthwhile to explore. So tonight we are proposing a $100 season fee and a $10 daily fee for vendors at the market. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk more about it.
Well, it's only a $500 difference out of the city's economic development budget.
Yep.
From the 150 to 100. But because this is our first time with this, I think it's important to, attract vendors, then turn them off for a little $50 extra fee charge, you know what I mean? As time goes on and the market becomes more popular, we'll reevaluate at that time, see how it goes. But as far as the kickoff, I think this is the right way to go. I think it's important to be reasonable, get the interest in there, and then once they see how it works here, because again, it's all new to us too. See what the participation is on the public side and the vendor side. I think it all comes into play in the long term. Joe, your comments?
Yeah, I would say I don't have an issue with it. I think, getting it going, seeing what's gonna happen with it. Everybody's interested to see how successful it's gonna be. If it is successful, at that point, we can move further.
Kevin, your remarks?
I think $100 is more reasonable. Like you say, you want to attract people for them to test drive it, and we're test driving it. And the money that you're raising actually goes into the probably advertising and whatnot. And so I'd be all for it. $10, again, people can test drive it for $10 too, and come and try a couple sessions. They should be able to. They're doing well. They should make it back on the weekend, but you got to make it reasonable enough for them to come. So.
All right, thank you. Sir?
Yeah, I'm okay with the change too, I think, especially for that first year. Just kind of getting up and going, I think it's important to work with them.
All right, then we have a motion to adopt the fee schedule amendment for farmers market first reading ordinance 311 and ordinance amending section 2-9-1 of the city code regarding the fee schedule farmers market. Please do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Councilor Urban makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Hubert makes a second. It is an ordinance, a roll call,
Mayor Collins,
Jen. Aye.
Councilmembers Updike,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 9D, recommendation for a construction manager.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is a recommendation for a construction manager for the new City Hall Fire Station. Last couple of weeks, we spent time interviewing all 4 of the submissions that were received in regards to our RFP for a construction manager for this project. We interviewed the 4 individuals. There were references that were checked. Below in the agenda, I wrote the breakout of the fees and the total scores, and in both categories, Stahl came in ahead of the other 3. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, I've looked at this, and I'm sure council has too, by the way, that the fees between the 4 companies, they were lowest on the fee schedule, fees from because the fees went up to as high as 3.5, they were at 1. The time frame was more of a, they had bought it for an 18-month project versus a 14-month project. And I did the reference checks on them. So I was very thorough with it, between Wayzata, Richfield, and 4 schools and 1 stadium that they did in Elk River. 4 schools with the ISD 2728, they did Seco, Rogers, Prairie View Middle School, and they did Elk River School and Stadium. So I was very impressed with the reference checking on them. And what I liked also, by the way, was the consensus between the building committee on Jeremy Belsheim, the project superintendent. The building committee was all in favor of it, and all the references pointed out to that too, by the way. That was a very important factor to the project. So I think we're going to do real well with this company here. I think we're going to do more in communication with them throughout the project, more than Brutton. As time goes on, once Brutton has a plan, they'll be there. But the day-to-day activity of the project will be with this. So I'm very much pro to them. I think I think the price, they were the lowest price of all four, but as I mentioned before, low price doesn't mean everything. Quality is the name of the game at this level, by the way. All these companies are quality company. So I'm not worried about that, but I think this is a good fit for us. And I think they presented themselves really well, from what I gathered from the building committee. I didn't make that interview. But with the reference checks, I'm very confident that this is the right company to go with. So on that, I have your comments, Sarah, on this at all?
Looking it over. And then trusting the committee that interviewed them. Trust they did a good job, thorough job. We checked references. So I am in favor of going to stop.
All right, Kevin?
I said it on the building meeting, you mayor, again, the enthusiasm that the participants had for the groups showed, just the way they bet it all, I'm all for it, everything looked, good.
Joe?
I did attend the interview as well, and I like Stahl, so I have no issues with that. I think the fee is good. A quick question, the 18 months to 14 months, that's from when construction starts, right? So as soon as construction starts, that 18-month clock will start, or the 14-month, whatever.
Correct. So Mayor, Council, when we had the RFP sent out, we did it with the anticipation of an 18-month project. However, once all of them were received, Brunton broke their fees down as to what it would be as a 14-month project. And that's what they really anticipate this to come in closer to. But to have that range, weather and those other factors, so we move the long and then a shorter version.
But even with that, the numbers for Stahl are lower than the rest of them. The fees are lower than the rest of them. And the score is the higher of all four of them. So with the consensus of the building committee and the references that I did, I can't say enough that that's a good choice. They were confident, brought real well, and worked well with staff. And at this level, by the way, unlike what happened to us at the Muni, this company will be dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and we won't have those situations we had with the other company. Again, a low number doesn't necessarily mean a low quality company. Exception to all rule would be Weber. Out of that, I think everybody else would know that this is a quality company. And by the way, H&U and Ellis Black and Woodstone are all quality companies too. It's just that Stahl, I think, is a better fit. The references stand out. One of the issues we did have with references, by the way, is like for instance, Victoria with Stahl. I called them. The building that they did was done in 2011, but there's nobody at the city working there that was involved in that project at the time. So I was able to work with Richfield, fire chief over there, and Lizetta, and again, 728, ISD 728, and ISD 728, after working with the schools and stadium, said that they would use them again in future projects coming forward. So that gave me a real good feel for it, taking this company. So now, you have a recommendation?
Mayor
Anything
and
else,
Council,
Mark?
I do. We will move forward, putting together contracts with Stahl.
All right, and then eventually Stahl will be at a building committee.
Correct.
Okay, good. That'd be very good.
One question, too quick. So let's say the bidding comes in insanely high, and we're not able to do it. What happens in that situation with the construction manager?
So in regards to construction manager, the pre-construction fees that you see on here will have been paid out. So that 27.5. One of their jobs is to keep these bids from coming in past the project point of no return.
Okay,
So they will help us create alternatives and selections that keep our pricing down to keep that affordable.
right. Okay, thank you.
And through alternates and whatnot, actually looking at the building themselves with their experience will give us a better plan for bidding in the broader picture. All right, so you'll notify Stahl.
I will, and I will be back with contracts.
All right, good. All right. Let's take a meeting open publicly, I don't know. Okay, so moving on to liquor store annual report. None.
Mayor, council, before you is the 2022 liquor store annual report. For those of you that know me, know that I like to keep things light because alcohol is fun. So, as we all know, Moses gathered two of all animals onto the ark. Unicorns were next to each other, and the first one says, "Looks like we're gonna have to repopulate all the unicorns here on Earth. My name is Gary, gorgeous. What's yours?" The second unicorn replies, "Frank."
Let me see on annual report, I like it.
So. First page, it has to do with our staff. As it says, they are by far the most important part of our business. And our part-timers in particular are there when the majority of our customers. So we continue to try and find ways to make working fun. It's been in my experience that if you're not having fun at your job, you're less likely to show up, making my job even harder. So we throw in different competitions. We try and do tours of breweries, wineries, stuff like that to try and keep not only, like I said, having fun, but to keep them educated. Next page, stick the 5-year comparative income statement. New number to look at here on this page is the cost of goods sold, or the COGS. So typically when this number is big, it means we've done well with our sales. For 2022, that was the case, but we were also trying to figure out what products to buy in bulk in. Where this is a continuous process, I'm narrowing it down a lot better. So we're not going to see numbers quite that high unless, again, we're doing phenomenal business. So for the 2021 numbers, obviously those numbers were down specifically because we were remodeling for 4 or 5 months. So we weren't able to buy the big bulk items. Most of these graphs and charts are self-explanatory, so I'm going to actually move to the last or second to last page, the gross profit margin. So our focus for 2023, our focus all the time is to try and get to that 25% gross profit margin. For 2023, we are trying to get more wine sales. Wine is the largest margins, and in theory will bring up our gross profit. Right now we are doing, every Wednesday we are opening up bottles for customers to taste. On top of that, we are also having more tastings in our tasting area. Wine Wednesday is Wine Wednesday, so we're typically tasting wines that are not on sale. So if they choose to purchase, they're getting a discount when they're coming in to try them. Something I just want to focus on is the 2022 trends. And trends, like everyone knows, changes all the time. We got in on the bourbon train, as it will. It astonished me how much more bourbon we sold, and the fact that the majority of them weren't your big three, your Jack, your Jim, your Evan. It amazed me, but we were able to profit on that. So.
And when you say your bourbons were so hot that MMBA started picking barrels, what?
So there's a committee that goes out and talks to different distillers. Like we have a Woodford Reserve that they go and they taste different bourbons, and they put that barrel together, and that's exclusive to MMBA members. So you're not going to find it at a G Will. You're not going to find it at Total. It's exclusive to MMBA members.
No. Oh, cool. So. And just those bourbons you sold $1,600.
Yep, and it was case 1, case 2 here and there. It wasn't anything, you didn't buy bulk of that. It was just, and they're higher end bourbons, $30 to $60 bottles. So yeah, it was impressive. I was impressed. All right, so the liquor store modeling project. 2 things to note. 1, we had no storage. We turned one of the bathrooms into a storage room, seen in picture number 1. Picture number 2, the store looked cluttered. It wasn't utilized for your traditional displays. We had to house all of our big buys on the floor. So then you go to the after pictures. And the first picture is the storage room. It's the best built storage room in the state, I'll argue. But it is also the most utilized room. It was needed and it turned out great. The second picture is more of a idea of how our displays are now. It's not as cluttered. It looks clean, it looks sharp. So the remodel was very, very beneficial to the liquor store. It has worked out great. I'll go to the special events throughout the year. We try to do as many of these MMBA fundraisers as possible. They've been very, very profitable for communities. And it's a great way to give back to our community. Our highlight for the year was the firefighter fundraiser, where we gave over $1,000 to Dave and the firefighters. We'll keep coming up with ideas to utilize and to get more community involvement. With that one, we did a beanbag toss, which I think was worked out well with our community. But yeah, we're planning on doing different stuff for the other fundraisers also. Next page is with more space come bigger displays. Today's our displays have meaning. They're not just a pile of product. This last year when Yellowstone came back, we were able to build this nice Coors display, and we actually had our distributor print off a picture of Rip. And we've had people offer us $300 for Rip. Now we didn't sell him; he's an icon. We can't get rid of Rip. I mean, it shows that we have, with the space, we have better displays. And then Larry. Larry is our mascot and loves to be the center of attention. Every month he'll be in a different outfit, different place, different display. I recommend coming in and seeing what Larry's up to. With that, I want to thank Darcy for all the help that she gave me in doing this report. And I will I'll answer any questions you guys have for me or attempt to.
Well, first of all, the bathroom he's talking about is that storeroom here on page 86, I think it is. 88, you see the storeroom? That's the bathroom that was on the first picture. Turned out very well, I thought. Maybe more space for storage. Oh, so let me ask you this: Are you seeing new customers come in, and still are they second? Their excitement is with the new store, the layout, and everything, the promotions that you're doing. Are you seeing some energy there?
Yeah, I mean, still to this day, everybody that comes in comments how beautiful the store looks. You know, we're a year and a half in now, and the people that are new are few and far between, other than, you know, new people to the community. But every so often we still get somebody that comes in and says, I haven't been here since the remodel. But yeah, it seems like people are there and they're excited because we have better selection, our prices are better. Yes, I would say, yeah.
And the store is not so cluttered, right? Because before we remodeled, of course, if everybody recalls, we couldn't, the bathrooms were not bathrooms. The emergency exit wasn't an emergency exit. You couldn't get out of the store if you had a fire. We couldn't even pass our own fire inspections. So as far as the layout, I mean, the store is clean. You're keeping it clean from where you're right. So would I be safe in saying the trend can only go upwards continuously going forward?
I certainly would hope so.
It's not, nothing, what I'm saying to you is that the remodeling was a definite plus to it.
Correct. Yes, it was.
And from what it was to what it is, and people are noticing that.
Yes,
That's good.
yes, they are.
That's good. Joe, your comments?
No questions, just, thank you for continuing to do what you do and improve things every day. And, definitely send our appreciation to the staff as well.
Thank you.
Kevin, your comments?
A couple questions, a very good report, nice to see the different, comparisons and stuff from years past. Are you seeing any different, excitement, not the right word, but vendor participation? When they see the space you have now, are they offering anything, or before they come and say, hi, how are you, look at their display, front some shelves, et cetera, but are you seeing any additional enthusiasm on the vendor's part that want to help you do more, be more?
Beer more so than liquor and wine, but yes, they are competing to try and get like that #1 spot in the display area and coming up with different ideas for impactful displays, something that people talk about where they take pictures. And I know with our Miller Coors distributor, they've sent pictures to nationwide, magazines. So it's, yeah.
Using you as a template, I mean,
Yes.
nice.
Yep, or not a template, but just an example of
Right.
something, yeah, that it works and it is nice, yep.
That's cool. Do you see any other, the wine tasting area, which I know the mayor was pretty keen on doing, which is unique to some places and not to others, but can that be used for other, the seltzers are a big deal. Are you using that wine area for anything else other than wine?
Yes, it's a tasting area, it's not necessarily a wine area, it's a tasting area, so yeah, in fact, just Friday, we had, two different liquors that we sampled out for St. Patrick's Day. Friday, we're also tasting, but yeah, the beer distributors, they haven't been forthcoming with tastings. I'm gonna talk to Crystal, she's our beer buyer, and try and get them to be more coming out and trying to do more tastings, period.
Sure.
I know it's during the summer, they're more willing to come out, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I think I asked this about a year or so ago, and this is even worthwhile. Do you do any secret shopping? Do you go to other places? You're probably more recognizable, but maybe some of your staff, do you go to other stores and East Bethel or Cooper's Corner or G Wills? Do you ever snoop around there and do some covert operations, see what everybody else is cooking?
Every so often, yeah, we'll stop in at G Will. They're kind of our biggest competition and see what's happening, what's going on. Compare handful of prices. Like I always say, that if you pick 20 items, 4 are going to be more expensive, 5 are going to be less expensive, and 10 are going to be within 50 cents. I mean, so and that stays that way for the most part.
But you're checking the pulse of the market anyway and see what your comp's doing. So.
Yep.
No, very good, very nice report, very good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, comment?
That's a great report. And I too want to commend your staff. I've heard great things from the community about how friendly they are. I think people have really appreciated the new stuff that's coming in there. Nice to be able, like, oh, you can get cardless out of there. You're like, woo-hoo, so, and just your staff is always very helpful, very knowledgeable. I think we can have a lot of fun with Liquor Store Larry. We can do some contests, some fun things. Maybe someone can win a chance to dress him up or,
Oh, there you go.
it's all different things that we can do with them. And I think as he becomes more of a staple, you're gonna see him popping up on Facebook. People are gonna be taking selfies with them and being like, oh, I'm hanging out with her. Their favorite or whatever. So I think that's great. So yeah, just the new space is great. I love going in there and seeing what new things you guys are bringing in and the displays. Yeah, they're amazing compared to the room that we had before. You couldn't really do anything. So it's fun to see that. So great job. Your staff is great. They're knowledgeable. They're friendly. Just keep up the great work.
And I like the new wine racks. And you gotta remember something, the old store, just the width between the racks and the walk-in cooler, well, it was pretty tight. Now I got plenty of room. The store's attractive and you're keeping it clean, which is nice. I'll give an example about between new and old. The old store couldn't get Coca-Cola there. The new store can because of volume. So that's a big deal. I mean, that was a huge one because people were asking for it. They actually were having to go over to Quick Trip to get their Coca-Cola because they couldn't get it at our store. Now we can get it at our store. So that's a show you. The little thing is a big thing, but the change in the store. Key, of course, is your staff is the number one thing, as you said, that's the key to your success. And then, of course, promote the store, what you're doing. Just keep it up and keep the flow going. I think, and I like what you said earlier about the bulk buying, getting smarter with your bulk buying, knowing what's moving, what you can buy in bulk and move at the same time. Because the key is, you're gonna buy in bulk, you gotta be able to move that problem. So if you're gonna buy something just because you got a good price on it, it doesn't move, it doesn't mean nothing. You get a good price on it, you're buying bulk and you can move it, that's what you want. So I like what I see here, I'm glad you're utilizing the tasting area for everything that you can. And I would push more for the beer guys. I'm surprised they don't, because especially import beers. Right. They can do that type of stuff like that. And the vendors, but I think the vendors, now that you've been like 16 months after completion, they're seeing that as a viable liquor store. It really is a liquor store now versus what it was. Because as we all know, it was a city hall, and then it was an off sale, and then it was just the off sale and whatever. And I want to comment the staff on during the construction. Keeping that moving like you did was excellent. I was there, I saw it. A little space, but it turned out it still sold a lot of product. You know,
More than I expected.
Have your regulars, and you have people like them, but I think they like the store. I think they see the difference, and there was a big difference to it. So, and I compliment Public Works, Paul, for taking those shrubs down, cleaning that up. You know, you can see it now. I never even dawned on me about those shrubs, but that wasn't on my mind. But taking those down really made you view that store. Now we have the food truck. On Wednesday coming up, we have the food truck 11 to 7. And we'll try to do more food vendors throughout the summer for you too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments by council on that? Okay. All right, moving on to council member reports. So Sarah, I'll start with you. All right, well, that's pretty easy. Kevin, yours?
I'll start out with some advertising for Winning with Cops is April, or no, that's tomorrow, 4 to 6 at the Tasty Patriot Lane. And then in 4/11, April 11th, the St. Francis Police Academy starts up again. I encourage people to, if you haven't done it, take the time. We had some, probably majority of the people last time were, except for the one young person who was going to be a highway patrolman. I think everybody there was probably over 50. But still, if you have the time to do it, if you can't make them all, but it's very informative. And you see your police department in action. And it's taken for granted a lot, you know, they're being open garage doors or saving your child from some trouble or thwarting trouble before it happens to your family. It's just a good way to get out there and be involved and see it firsthand. And they're not asking anything in return. You don't have to volunteer your time or anything. It's come and get some education, and it's free. So I also attended the Bethel fire meeting last week. We talked about the city of Bethel is their numbers are diminishing enough where it's causing them to look ahead. They want to be safety minded and cover their bases. We might be down the road to see more information as far as something coming together. Hopefully we'll be working with the city of Bethel as far as police fire protection alone, and it'll help broaden our resources as well as protect our neighbor right to the north. So we're trying to knock out some borders, and the new day and age is nice to reach out and talk to one another about helping and saving money. It's a cost saving situation as well as a life saving and money saving situation. So that is all I have. Thank you.
Joe?
I attended the interviews with the construction manager. Very informative, very good. I'm happy with their choice. I would ever encourage anybody that can make it to Winning with Cops tomorrow to do so. And the academy again is very cool. Applications, I believe, have to be in by April 7th. I see now for today. So I would hope that we get more participation with that. And, April 18th, I've heard is the day that, use of force is used, so I will be there that day. To get tased.
You will be? You will be?
Yeah.
It's on record now. Taser, taser, taser.
There's gonna be a line.
I might even have to come up with that myself. Not sure about that.
I'll pick you up.
Okay, thank you. All right. I don't really have much other than I didn't make that first part of the interviews, but I did my research as I've learned to do very well since the Weber days. I'm very happy with that selection that Council made here with Stahl. I think that's going to move us really forward to this bigger project that we're talking about. This project hopefully will go forward if the numbers are right and benefit the city for many, many, many years to come. I'm very excited about the farmers market, very excited about that. I think that's a wonderful thing for a small community to have, especially when you have farmers out here. I just know what I did with my mom, as I stated before, going to where the Minneapolis farmers market, picking up cucumbers with pickles and tomatoes and stuff like that, because she jarred everything. And I just thought that was a great experience growing up. So hopefully the kids will enjoy that. And so that's good stuff here. Bringing activities to the city, that's our goal here. So the people here can enjoy their city and not have to go to other cities to enjoy their activities. I want to thank staff very much for all your work. Some days it's easier than others, or at least it's hopefully easier than others. There's a lot on our plate between Highway 47, between the City Hall Fire Station building, between the Vista Prairie coming up, senior housing this year, the breaking ground, and Blossom River and all that. There's a lot on the plate here, and you're handling it very well. So I want to commend all staff for your work and all that. Keep it up, and let's continue working as a team. We are. It's working. It's been working for 6 years. Let's take it for a spin and see what we can do in the 7th and 8th year of my term. I want to thank everybody here once again. Be safe out there. It was a real privilege and honor to swear in the police officers. I thank you for that. While you're at full strength, let's hope that God you stay at full strength for a little while. Let's hope. I keep my fingers crossed all the time. And as far as Dave, I was very, very interested. You might want to explain to staff that Bridget, that was at the building committee, was an old timer that actually came back to you. I want to explain that to everybody.
Yeah, Bridget spent about 15 years in the fire department. Decided to retire 7-8 years ago. And just through her mutual connections, decided that it was time that maybe she wanted to come back.
And she liked what she saw.
Yep, and she's been a tremendous asset.
Absolutely, absolutely. Was her husband too or no?
Correct.
Both of them.
Both of them were on previously and came back to us.
And they like what they see with what you've done with the fire department. That's very good.
Yeah.
Paul, I want to just pass out one thing. What a winter for you. I never see it again. There's 2 days I like snow. Thanksgiving, Christmas. Done. Never come back. So, but what you've done with plowing has been tremendous. The smell's going to come, and I know we all know how the smell's going to be. It's not going to be gradual. You got the mid-40s coming up, the weekend 50s around the corner. I feel for the farmers, the rubber, and everything's going to be dirty and messy and for quite a long time, but we'll get through. The real unique thing this winter, of course, was frost was on the ground. There was no hard frost because there was a blanket of snow and never got to the frost, which makes these roads soft and cushiony versus hard. That's why we have road restrictions in right now. But still, do you think road restrictions might have to go on longer this year because of that?
Well, I was in the trucking industry for several years and I watched them really closely, and I think twice in 25 years, they went on longer than 6 weeks. It thaws out pretty quick. Once things start going, everybody believes that this will stay until July, and it won't. It'll be gone by the 3rd week of April typically, and everything will work out just fine.
We're about the guy here. We'll say if you're across the ground, it's different because we have some building permits pulled already, right? Building permits pulled already because the ground is softer, ready to go for great excavation. That just tells you what I'm saying. So anyways, keep up the good work, everybody. I'm going to take advantage of getting this meeting done at 7. I see the looks from Kate all the time, so I know I better take this gavel. All right, any other business we have? Craig, thank you for sitting in. Dave, thank you for everybody, all the work, everything you do. On that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 7:05 on Monday, March 20th.